Earth's greatest habitat. 1. Greater land cover. The oceans cover 71% of the surface of the Earth, so seafloor provides the largest area for those species that move about on or are rooted to our planet's surface, a reasonable justification for the largest habitat on Earth. But what about life forms that aren't confined to dry ground or the seabed, those that can swim, fly, drift in wind or currents, or even thrive below the planet's surface? The average depth of the ocean is 3,682 meters, so taking 71% of the Earth's surface with that average depth gives us an estimated volume of 1,332 million cubic kilometers for the oceans. And there is life swimming or drifting throughout that vast volume, even to the bottom of the deepest trenches, nearly 11 kilometers beneath the waves. 2. Life. These trench dwellers are not the deepest life forms on our planet, however, as a subsurface biosphere of microbes permeates even further into the Earth's crust. There are microbes living 2.5 kilometers below the ocean floor, for example, in coal-bearing sediments. The depth limit for such subterranean life depends on local geology, however, and even assuming a limit of 2.5 kilometers all around the world gives us a subsurface biosphere of around 1,275 mkm superscript 3. That's smaller than the oceans, and furthermore, not all that volume is habitable, as the microbes are squeezed into spaces within the rocks. There are also microbes in atmosphere above our heads, living in water droplets and on ice crystals in thunderclouds, up to an altitude of at least 12 kilometers. But before we imagine a layer 12 kilometers high for microbial life in the skies, it's worth remembering that they need a watery environment in which to thrive. Only around 0.4% of our atmosphere is water vapor, so the aerial habitat for microbial life is much smaller than we might think. What about the aerial habitat for birds, bats, flying insects, and tiny animals? Bar-headed geese may fly at an altitude of more than 8 kilometers in the Himalayas, but they don't actually fly 8 kilometers above the ground, they follow the terrain of the mountain range as they migrate over it. So it may be wrong to assume a layer 8 kilometers high for the aerial habitat of animal life around the world, as there are few mountains rising to those heights. In November 1973, however, an aircraft flying at an altitude of 11 kilometers over the Ivory Coast collided with a Ruppel's vulture, which holds the record for the highest known bird. As this took place over the coast, with no mountains below, we might therefore assume a layer at least 10 kilometers high for animal life in the atmosphere, all over our world, which would give us an astonishing potential habitat of 100 mkm superscript 3 for airborne animal life. So at this point, our blue planet is perhaps starting to look like a very airy one too. 3. Oceans of microbes. Where the ocean pips it, though, is in the abundance of life that it harbors. Microbes utterly outstrip animals and plants as the dominant form of life on Earth, in their individual numbers and total biomass, so it's their abundance that matters here. And while living microbes are restricted to watery spots in the atmosphere, they face no such limitation in the ocean. A single milliliter of surface seawater naturally contains around 1 million living bacteria and other kinds of single-celled microbes. Although that concentration drops off to perhaps 10,000 microbes per milliliter in most of the deep ocean, the total global population of microbes in the oceans is staggering, about 44 octillion living cells, or 44 octillion if you prefer. That number is literally beyond astronomical. It's around 10,000 times the number of stars in the observable universe. So the oceans are certainly the largest reservoir of life on Earth. Is that the same as the largest habitat on Earth? The oceans really contain lots of different habitats, of course, from lush kelp forests to huge expanses of open water. Blue Planet 2 celebrates that reality in its forthcoming episodes, exploring places such as sunlit coral reefs and bizarre deep-sea brine pools, so I'm comfortable with that largest habitat shorthand in its opening line. After 4 years of work by a small army of producers, camera people, sound recordists, editors, researchers, organizers, ship crews, mini-sub pilots, and scientific advisors, it's time to immerse ourselves in the wonder and realize how we are connected to that vast reservoir of life. Research, Vitor Hugo Lizard Leonardi. Hello friends, if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, strengthen our work, it's very important to expand the channel. I'll tell you, thank you.